Welcome back to The Rise. And I'm thrilled you're here today because we're going to talk about something that's sort of tender. And I'm going to be really candid and vulnerable. And just we're going to have real talk conversation today about how to handle a no. And I'm talking about, in this case, whether it's a potential client that you've been speaking to and you really excited about the potential of working with them, or maybe they even said they were doing it and then they didn't follow through. Maybe it's someone you've been working with and it's a renewal conversation and someone says, they're complete or they're not renewing and you were excited about the possibility of working further with them. Maybe you pitched yourself for a speaking engagement and really could vision yourself on that stage or doing that event, and you don't get the yes, and you either get nothing back or a rejection of some sort, form letter, whether you've pitched your writing. The list can go on. If we are in the game of thought leadership, and this is part of our Game Changer series, and so I'm so glad you're sticking with us and here for this next episode, we get to change the game around what we think of as rejection, what we think of as a no. And I'm going to share the four-step process that helps me. And I'm recording this today because I was excited about something and I got a no. And I just was feeling the feelings of that. And I thought, you know what, let's get into this, because I have a process I take myself through to not only shift my energy and, sort of change my state, but also to open the channel for more success. And it has sort of a bonus step. So it's 4 plus a bonus. So we'll call it 5 steps. Okay. So let's get right to it. You're busy. You've got to get out there after you listen to this and go and have some more successes and yeses, and they're waiting for you. So here's how we're gonna change the game. The first thing is I think it's so crucially important to feel our feelings, because anything we resist persists. Anything we ignore is going to hang around. And so we want to have like healthy digestion and expression and release of our emotions. So no spiritual bypassing here, no pretending something doesn't bother us if it does. If you've had your hopes up, or you have a big vision, or you've taken a lot of action on something, you've invested a lot in something, there is likely no way that you're going to have some kind of a feeling if that does not happen. You don't have a yes, whatever it might be. And I think it sort of surprised me, Lauren. I would put people on pedestals that I didn't know previously, whether they were writers, thought leaders, coaches, entrepreneurs. And I think, oh, well, when you're at the, $1 million mark, you don't get rejection, or you don't care about it. I would think, oh, someone who has a New York Times bestseller never gets rejected, or these different things I made up that are completely false. Because then when I actually got to know people who do these things, and have 8-figure, 9-figure businesses, and have been on all the bestseller lists and all the big TV shows, and I've been on a lot of those things now, and shows and different, multiple 7-figure milestones, and it's complete fallacy that no. Is eradicated, or that we don't care. I remember being a young child and going to the doctor to get like a booster shot that, whatever was scheduled for that checkup. Let's say my 7-year-old checkup, I had to get some booster shots. And I remember thinking, I think I even said this to my mother, I'm so excited to be grown up. And she said, why? What kid is saying that? And I said, because then when I get shots, they won't hurt, because I didn't see adults, screaming or crying or carrying on if they, had to go to the doctor. And I thought that it meant it didn't hurt. And it was a little bit like, I did a little bit of a move like that, thinking, oh, at these certain success milestones, rejection doesn't happen, no's don't happen. It's like, it's just not true. If we are playing full out and we're going for big things and we're putting ourselves out there and we're being authentic about what it is we truly want, then we are likely going to have certain things that are an instant, like, let's go. And then we're going to have some things that aren't. And that is part of being, living, on the edge of our expansion, of our evolution, of our contribution. And I know at the end of my life, I am not going to want to sit there, and I hope it's a long time from now. And I don't want to say, well, I'm glad I never got a no because I didn't try to do anything. I never put myself out there. I never gave it everything I had. That is not the way I want to live while I'm here and leave this planet. And I know it's not, if you're listening to this, for you either. So what are we going to do about how do we handle the feelings, the ups and downs, and the feelings when we don't get the yes that we're hoping for in that moment? All right. So the step-by-step process. The first is feel the feelings. So there was something I was really excited about. It's a no, at least for now. And I felt grief. Because it was a a chance to continue on working with someone that I adored working with in a specific way, and some other, partnerships and things that go with that. And I felt grief, like, and we can celebrate the grief is that we care. We're playing big enough that we actually care. It is so much easier on our ego to not try, to keep ourselves invisible, to play small, to stay under the radar, to not take risks. We are protected. That's true. You are protected from the no if you never ask the question or take the shot. We know that. But we also radically and horrifically, and I think even tragically, limit our lives. If we feel like we are so fragile and so unable to handle, emotion, that we can't go for something big, then it's what are we doing, right? And I know that's not you. And so we get to take care of ourselves. So the first is to feel it, whether that's to share that with another person. I'm really bummed I put myself up for this opportunity and they said no, or it's not a good fit, or if they didn't write me back. We feel it. Also notice if you feel shame, because a lot of times what comes up around this is like that we have these other ick feelings that we don't want to feel, right? We might feel shame. We might feel jealousy of someone else that got a yes for that thing. We might feel envy. We might feel powerless. We might feel frustrated. We might feel despair. We might feel financial anxiety, like, oh, that if it was attached to financial things, we might have financial fear. So any number of this potpourri of emotions could come up if we are, in a situation where we went for something and it's not a yes right now. So just acknowledging the feelings. Where do I feel it in my body? Taking some breaths, bringing some love, total unconditional self-acceptance. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to feel afraid, triggered, fear, angry, sad, jealous, envy, like everything's welcome. And we breathe and we feel where it is in our body and we give it some time. Studies show that it takes less than a minute to fully feel a feeling through, 1 to 2 minutes to fully feel a feeling through, and then you're through it. I mean, you might have some other spikes as if it was a big deal and go through your process, but we just ride that wave of the emotion. That's so healthy. Then it just becomes life force energy. Life force. Isn't that cool? Okay. Step 2. Once we felt our feelings, then we want to check in, because the feelings come not from the experience, not from the perceived rejection or no, or like if there's a change in income based on that decision. They come from the story we're making up about it. Well, that's great for all of us here in thought leader land. We write stories, we share stories from the stage, we share stories in our marketing, podcasting. So what is the meaning we're giving it, is somehow how it's said. What is the story, the way I say it, that I'm making up about this experience? So I'm going to, again, just be honest. When I inventoried this for myself this morning, I was making up two stories that both felt really bad. So the first one was, if I was a better, coach, thought leader, this would have been a yes. So I'm not a good, I'm not good at what I do, right? That was one story. And then the second story that was coming up is I'm financially compromised. And this had a financial component to it. So what, like, oh my gosh, this is now going to affect my finances and that feels scary, or it could affect my finances. So I felt like I went into some financial fear, right? Not proud of it. Don't like that that's my reaction, what I made up about it. But you can then link, is the story, this is how you check, is the story, when you tell yourself the story, what's the emotion that goes with it? Well, the emotion of I'm not good at what I do is shame. And then the emotion around, oh no, this income isn't going to continue around this project, then the emotion was fear, right? So those stories are causing the emotion. And how do I know this? Because what we're going to do next in step 3 is we're going to feel into what else could be true. Like, what's another story that I could tell myself about the situation? So here's an example, just again, real time, doing this work myself this morning. I can say with the opportunity that's not continuing, I could say, oh, really interesting. It's so beautiful when people know they're complete, whether it's a partner, a client, a potential client, whatever it is. Isn't that beautiful? Clarity is so precious. Like, I love the alignment that happened. Like, this other organization or person or whoever you're, talking about, thinking about, they got clarity that this is not a fit right now to continue on in this way. it's so good to have clarity. And something else that could be true if I had to make up another story about it is, um, ooh, like, I believe in the law of abundance, so that means something even better is coming. Like, the space is being created by the beautiful and sacred clarity of the no here for something even better. Now, you might believe that's true or not, but first of all, just tell yourself the story because we're making it all up anyway. So when I tell myself the story of, oh, it's so beautiful that clarity has been revealed here because that's so aligned. And when people have clarity and act on clarity, it's always highest good. And that's such a good thing. What's my emotion around that? I still feel a little sadness and grief about not getting to do that project. But the way that I wanted right now, notice what I'm doing, even by saying the way that I wanted right now, I'm telling a story. But when I tell the story of how do I feel if this is just really beautiful clarity and the highest good comes from clarity, I feel peaceful. I feel some relief, and I can just breathe through that little bit of sadness and disappointment that still is there. Okay. Now, when I tell myself the story of, ooh, this is complete so that it creates space for the something even better. The universe abhors a vacuum. Something new gets to come in because this spot isn't occupied by that project. Oh, how do I feel about that? Well, now I feel excited. I feel curious. I feel anticipation, positive anticipation. I feel like I'm looking out. My radar is up for like, ooh, what's the new cool thing that's going to come in? And even if you want to fake it and just pretend that you believe that that's true, that when one door closes, another opens idea. What is it like to run that through your nervous system? What is it like to tell yourself that story and see, what happens? It certainly changes my emotions. I'll tell you that. And if the emotions are our calibrating point in the universe in terms of kind of what we attract and what emotions drive our behavior. So if I raise my emotions from shame and fear, which is what I initially felt in this situation, to curiosity, uh, acceptance, excitement, like positive anticipation, well, that's a very different energy. It's a very different state, and different intuitive nudges are going to come to me. Different synchronicity is going to get activated. This is, quantum physics. If you want to know the science behind it, right? That everything is energy and energy matches itself. So when I'm in energy of shame and fear, I'm probably not going to enjoy a lot of what I'm thinking, a lot of what ideas are going to come to me in that state, and what I'm going to be attracting outside me. When I'm in acceptance, just feeling my feelings, and then curiosity and excitement and positive anticipation, a whole different world gets to happen inside me and around me. Okay. So that's step 3. Then I really love doing a win streak. This is also called the what's working now game. So even if there's a big disappointment or small disappointment, or someone you thought was going to work with you says they're not, changes their mind, or uh, doesn't renew, or the speaking engagement picks someone else to do the keynote, whatever it is, what is working now? Even when things are hard, there's something that's working right now, probably a few things. So I want you to pause this and make a list of some things that are really working now. And they don't have to be related to the incident that you were having the feelings about. For example, I could say right now, again, I'm doing this in real time to just show you, like right here, no wall. So on my list today, when I was like, well, what is working now? Well, what's working now is I'm having a blast with my son and my husband, like just really great connection in our family right now. My son's, in 8th grade, just applied to high school, and he, really applied himself to, his high school entrance exams, and it was fun. We did like studying as a family, and we really got to reward his growth mindset. Not like what we don't know if he's getting into the school he wants or what he got on the test yet, but we are celebrating like what it looks like to commit to something and work hard. And we've had like fun, made it like a game in our family. That's working. Okay. My health, I feel strong. I worked out today. It felt good. I have a lot of energy. I feel like very excited when I woke up in the morning. Oh, that's a third thing that's working now. I'm passionate. I love our clients. I just sent out cards to all our clients, and I'm feeling like so much love and gratitude for the amazing human beings that I get to coach and serve in Thought Leader Academy and in our publishing company. I have my next book idea. It has come in. I know what it is, and I just finished the book that's going to come out in a couple months. That's okay. So I could go on and on, even though there was this other no that happened, right? And I bet you can too. So even if you can think of one thing, put it on that list. Okay. So that's step number 4. The bonus step is to start to imagine, really envision, come up with specific things that would be the something even better. Okay. And this has a 2-step. So I could say, oh my gosh, it was so wild that that project was a no. And then I got a call a day later for this 20K keynote that is actually going to lead to some consulting work in this organization. So I actually really did not have the space to take on this, which is way more lucrative because it's a multi 6-figure contract plus the initial, 20K keynote on something I love at a company I'm passionate about. Like, this is so fun. And I have the space now because I'm not doing this other thing to do that. You could say, oh my gosh, I was really excited about working with that client and they, ghosted me or they changed their mind. And then I got asked to come on my friend's Instagram, and 2 people reached out to me, and they're both starting next month, and they've paid in full. And they were like, I didn't even have a sale. They were just like, I want to work with you. It wasn't even a sales conversation. Like, it was so fun. And so you start to imagine these scenarios, and then you take an action on one of them. So if I did that thing about a multi 6-figure contract plus a keynote, what I could research companies that fit that description. I could send out my speaker pitch to one of them. So one action that makes real, that puts in motion one of those something even betters. If it's like, oh, I'm imagining the something even better is that one client said no and then 2 more came right in. Oh, who's been in my heart? Who have I been thinking about? Who did I talk to previously that said, oh, not right now, but let's circle back. Okay. And I can actually reach out to them. One of my professors at Northwestern University, where I did my master's in book writing and creative writing, I remember sharing with her. I said, "Oh, how do you deal with rejection with writing?" And I send out this story that I love, and I get a no. And she said, "Oh my God." She's like, "This is what I do. Every time I get a rejection." This woman been in the New York Times bestseller, featured in the Sunday section. I thought she didn't get rejected. She's like, "I get rejected all the time, because I'm sending out a lot of work, and I want to be a prolific writer." Committed to that. So she said, every time I get a no, I send out 5 more of my pieces, poems, short stories, book proposals. Like, she sends out 5 more pieces of writing the minute or the day of. She said, I don't go to bed before I send out 5 more things. So she is creating, like, the rejection is actually creating her future success. I loved that. It changed. Game changer. This is the Game Changer series. This 5-step really process is such a powerful game changer for me, and I hope it is for you. And I wanted to do it while it was raw, while it was fresh, while I was having feels about this no, that I already feel after going through this process myself this morning and having this, dialogue here, it's a monologue now, but we're in community, having this conversation here on the rise. I actually feel excited about what's next. I feel very high level of faith that there's something even better. And I'm really going to enjoy the process of letting that be revealed. And I feel such a trust that everything's unfolding as it's meant to. So that project wasn't mine. It just wasn't mine for right now, right? And that's okay. So I'm excited for you to try this. I really want to hear what happens when you do the steps, and even one of these steps can create a shift in your game. When you put them all together, it can be an actual system that you're going to use over and over and over anytime you need it. And that will make you not only really, really adept at any sort of no, at understanding that it's just a redirection, it's not a rejection, and it actually will create, if you do the full, 4 plus the bonus steps, the bonus 2-step, you are actually going to create more success out of that no. It is actually going to completely move you forward in a higher level than if that one thing had been a yes, because you're going to have done this process. You're going to envision multiple something even better. You're going to take action on at least one of them. And you're going to realize, like, the story is, oh, this is all for me. And everything is working out in better than I can imagine. And my something even better is on the way, because it is. I'll see you next time. Great job.